15 years, multiple businesses, breakthroughs, wins, mistakes, burnouts. There are lessons that you only learn the hard way, through time, growth, and a few very painful mistakes. I'm not going to sit here and give you some fluffy motivational quotes after 15 years of running my own business and say that everything's been magical. But what I will give you are 4 incredible lessons that has taken me 15 years to learn. I wish someone else had told me right at the beginning of my entrepreneurial journey. It would have saved me a lot of time, a lot of money, a lot of sanity, and definitely all my grey hairs. So let's get to it. Do what you love. Follow your passion. That is what all those business gurus say, right? And I feel like business owners have this almost smugness about them that they love what they do and they're super happy and they follow their passion in life and, you know, they've got this freedom, you know, and actually employees are just miserable in their lives and they are working for the man and they've got this boss who's probably an arsehole. And it's just this weird thing. But the truth is, running a business is like being in a long-term relationship. And think about it. In every long-term relationships, there's massive highs, but there are those lows too. You are not feeling that butterfly feelings all the time. Even if you are completely in love with your partner, it's not always those butterfly feelings. It's not always like you're on cloud 9. You have feelings where actually you need some time away from your partner. That's actually healthy. You actually just want to have a break. And sometimes you are getting sick and tired of them. And it's the same as in business. In business, you have these moments where it's so perfect and you're feeling so on cloud 9. You've just got the most legal high possible. And then there are other times where you just want to throw your laptop out the window. And that's okay. There's a reason why so many couples broke up during COVID, because they were suddenly lapped together in each other's space the entire time. And so many people were like, I can't take this. And so many couples broke up during COVID because of this intensity. Now imagine the same sort of thing you are doing and working on your business 24/7. And you're thinking about it all the time, you're never escaping. That's what a lot of people do. And that's why it's necessary to take a break, because you're going to feel overwhelmed. And I think for me, realizing that actually I don't have to love my business every single day was one of the biggest lessons that I've learned. I would so often feel guilty that if I wasn't super passionate about my business 24/7, I'd be even questioning myself, should I be doing this? Is this right for me? Or should I just go back to employment? It must be so much easier. If I'm not even loving my business right now, then is this the right thing for me? Am I even good at this? And I realised that that's just, again, part of business. It is just a moment in time where it's not going great and you just don't feel great about it. So you have to take some time out. But if you're doing things for the right reason, then you should always feel like you should want to go back to that business. Just like in a relationship, you know that if you need to take some time out, you can take some time out, but you're always going to want to come home to your partner. If you're in the right relationship and you're doing it for the right reasons, you're always going to want to come home to your partner, even if you just need a day away and you want to work away from home and you don't want to be in their space. It's the same as a business. I sometimes need to take a time off from the business, have a day where I'm just working on me or just having quality time with my partner. But I always want to come back to the business because I believe I'm doing it for the right reason. And I think that if you remember that your business is like a relationship and you love it to bits, but also it's okay not to just be obsessed and in love with it and hyper in love with it and want to be part of it all the time, then that's okay. Have you got some vision of some big monetary goal or some big milestone that you want to achieve, whether it's selling your company or reaching your first million? Do you feel like once you've got there, you'll feel like you've just completed life?
Oh, that was meant to be awesome.
Completed it.
Only came out last week.
Completed it.
What about this?
Championship manager. Completed it, mate.
Well, I remember setting my financial goals and some things that I really wanted to achieve with my companies. And once I got there, I was so waiting for this big ecstatic feeling of, I don't know, innate fulfillment, fireworks going off and just feeling so amazing. But it was like nothing. I didn't feel anything. It felt like just another thing that I ticked off my to-do list. And maybe you're listening to me thinking, God, she sounds so ungrateful. And it's not that. It's just that success doesn't feel like what you think it's going to feel like. I think that, again, for me, I realised that there's more to life that I believe in, that I really am passionate about, than just monetary goals or business goals. And so, yes, this was just another thing that I checked off my to-do list in order as a means to get what I really want. And so I think success won't feel like you think it will feel. And I realised this as well, that I'm not the only one that feels this way. I interviewed quite a few people for my podcast, No Bullshit Talks, which is all about entrepreneurs trying to share their stories. And a couple of people came on that who sold their company for a very hefty sum of money. And I remember two of them very distinctly, and I will drop their podcast links in the description below. And they both said that it was like the worst time of their lives. They hated it and they were depressed. And I will let you watch their story, but success isn't always what it seems. We're sold this idea that success brings clarity, confidence, and even peace. But actually, in reality, what it brings is more pressure. So what I've learned is that success is not a destination, it's a moving target. And this feeling that you're chasing, it's not a number in your bank account. It's actually how you're living your life along the way, along that journey. So my question to you is, are you chasing a feeling or a figure? Because those two paths look very different. So coming from agency world, I feel like growth, scale, exit were like the only words that we actually were taught. Everyone is obsessed with growing. Like there's all these quotes that people throw at you, which is like, if you're not growing, then you're just standing still, or there's all these sort of things that people are going to overtake you and you're going to go backwards, in fact, if you're not growing. And there's just this insane pressure. Like every event I went to was all about scaling and exiting, and it was all like hiring ahead of the curve. I would be going to these events and the only things people would say is, how big is your team now? What's your revenue? That's all they cared about. They didn't care about the quality of work or whether we were doing anything meaningful. It was all about scaling. Now, I think that there are some things that totally should scale. And if you really want to grow your business, that's absolutely fine. I think there is growth in different ways, right? But I think that there are also things that are great to stay small. They're intimate, they're high touch, and they're deeply aligned with your values. Growth isn't always linear or even vertical, and sometimes the most profitable option is to actually stay lean, to focus on profits and actually be really focused on high quality, and it's just a different experience. So if you feel a resistance to scaling, like I have done recently, and I've really had to tap into it, that feeling may not actually be fear. It may just be you protecting the soul of the purpose of what you've actually tried to build. So burnout isn't a rite of passage, even though I treated it as if it was, until my body literally forced me to stop. You cannot function on 3 hours of sleep, zero boundaries, and a nervous system that's constantly on edge. Now, I know that in entrepreneurship, burnout is this thing that people talk about and they just brush it aside, and hustle culture is such a big thing. And if you're an entrepreneur, you have to be all in and you have to give up your whole life and your friends and family in order to be able to grow your business.
You need to hustle, crush it, and go big.
Those all kind of sound like the same thing.
They're not. Hustle is to crush it.
And again, going back to the previous point, why is growth the main thing? For me, I realised that no amount of systems or habits or any of these things can outperform a terrible lifestyle. If you're ambitious, you are constantly looking to do new things and achieve new things. And I used to just think, if I could just push through this launch, if I could just help this client with this final project, and if I just sign off this another project, and then I'll be able to get through. But there were always more deadlines, there were always new things to do, there's always more fires to put out. This never ends. There is always another reason to push till something breaks. Your health, your energy, and your life is not separate from the business. it is the business. So the moment I realised this, I now rest like it's a strategy, because do you know what? It actually is. So these 4 lessons didn't come from any books or any masterminds. They came from me living this day in and day out for 15 years. So if any of these points hit home, please leave a note in the comments and let me know. Which of these lessons do you think you've learned? Or are you in the middle of learning something right now? And if this gave you some perspective, then please do give it a like or a share and share it with someone else you think is in the thick of it at the moment. But please remember that your business does not have to be perfect, and you don't have to be perfect. We just need to keep growing, and that doesn't mean bigger, it doesn't mean harder, it just means smarter.